Why do the worst people always seem to end up in charge? Why does it feel like the more power someone has, the less empathy they show? From politics to business to everyday life, it seems like those who are kind, honest, and humble rarely make it to the top. But this isn't just a coincidence. It's a deep psychological pattern. In this video, we're going to explore one of the most disturbing truths about human society, the psychology of power, and why good people almost never lead. We'll break this down into 3 chapters. First, how power changes the human brain. Second, why genuinely good people either avoid or fail in leadership. And third, whether it's actually possible to build a world where the right people are in charge. If you've ever felt like the system rewards the wrong kinds of people, stick around because the truth might be even more unsettling than you think. Power, at its core, is the ability to influence or control others. But psychologically, it's one of the most dangerous forces a person can experience. One of the most famous experiments proving this is the Stanford Prison Experiment, where ordinary college students, randomly assigned the role of guards, quickly became abusive and cruel toward their fellow students acting as prisoners. It had to be shut down in just 6 days. This revealed something chilling. Power doesn't just expose character, it actively changes it. Neuroscience supports this too. Studies show that gaining power increases dopamine levels in the brain, giving people a rush similar to drugs. Over time, this can lead to overconfidence, impulsiveness, and most critically, a loss of empathy. Powerful individuals often show reduced emotional awareness and stop mirroring others' emotions, a psychological shift known as the empathy deficit. And our modern systems, from corporate structures to political systems, are built in ways that reward this type of behavior. Boldness, manipulation, strategic lying. These traits climb the ranks faster than humility or kindness. As a result, leadership roles often attract those who crave control, not those who deserve it. Once in power, these individuals tend to surround themselves with yes-men, reinforcing their biases and isolating themselves from criticism. This creates a toxic feedback loop, one where power not only attracts the wrong personalities but amplifies their worst traits. So if this is how power works, what happens to the good people? That's exactly what we'll explore next. While power tends to attract those who crave control, it often repels the very people who would use it with compassion and integrity. Good people, by nature, lead with empathy, and that empathy can become a barrier in the harsh realities of leadership. They hesitate in moments where ruthless individuals act. They question themselves when others push forward without conscience. This self-doubt, combined with a deep fear of causing harm, leads many morally grounded individuals to avoid leadership roles entirely. There is also the weight of imposter syndrome, the quiet belief that they're not worthy, not strong enough, or not strategic enough to lead. In competitive environments, their kindness is often mistaken for weakness, and they pay what psychologists call the nice person tax, being overlooked, exploited, or dismissed. Even history shows us that many great moral figures avoided or rejected positions of formal power. George Washington stepped down from command when he could have become a dictator. Gandhi never held political office despite leading a revolution, and thinkers like Socrates influenced society without ever ruling it. The irony is tragic. The people most afraid of becoming corrupt are often the ones we need in power the most. But their fear is valid. Leadership comes with ethical traps. Do you fire one to save many? Do you lie to avoid chaos? These moral dilemmas weigh heavily on those with a conscience, and in a system built for the bold, the thoughtful are often drowned out. Over time, this creates a vicious cycle. Good people avoid power, bad people dominate it, and the system becomes increasingly toxic. But the question remains, can this cycle ever be broken? Despite the bleak pattern of power favoring the ruthless, the cycle isn't unbreakable, but it requires a radical shift in how we define leadership and power itself. First, we must stop seeing power as domination and start seeing it as responsibility, the ability to serve, protect, and uplift others. Leaders like Nelson Mandela and Abraham Lincoln weren't just morally strong, they were strategically wise, blending kindness with courage. This shows that good people can lead, if they're prepared. That's why we need to go beyond just telling good people to step up. We need to train them to understand how power works, how to handle manipulation, how to stay grounded while making hard decisions. Equally important is building ethical systems, structures with transparency, accountability, and shared decision-making that reduce the risk of corruption. We must also challenge the myth of the lone savior and embrace collective leadership, where communities, not just individuals, drive change. The world doesn't need perfect heroes. It needs networks of honest people willing to lead together. Finally, we must change who we admire. Society often rewards charisma over character, volume over value, but if we start celebrating empathy, wisdom, and quiet strength, we'll begin to shift the cultural tide. Ultimately, power doesn't always have to corrupt. In the right hands and within the right systems, it can reveal the best in us. And perhaps, it starts with a single decision. For a good person to no longer sit quietly in the background, but to lead, with eyes open and purpose clear. If this video made you think, take a moment to reflect, and then share your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe good people can truly lead in today's world, or is the system too far gone? I'd love to hear your perspective, and if you're interested in more deep dives into power, psychology, and the hidden truths of human behavior, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Your support helps this channel grow and reach others who are asking the same questions. Until next time, stay thoughtful, stay aware, and never stop challenging the way the world works.